thunderous clap. You should have ear pro on for that thing. Anyway, hey guys, out on the range, Cole and the fellas, and we are going to talk about the ACRO P2, how much we like it, how much we've been using this thing for the last couple of years, and we're excited to announce some upgrades and some different options exclusively to Glock and Aimpoint. Overall reviews on this. I know you've been running these exclusive for a while.
Had really good experience with them. Super robust. It's a great platform not only for the pistol but for the rifle as well.
Like the closed emitter thing was something, you know, outside of some of the optics we had in there. You know, we didn't have red dots. We transitioned over from the military. Really, as we got out, really started to run through them, and just the amount of dirt and dust and debris that gets in your traditional optic, like, it just can't be ignored. I mean, it's one of the reasons we run around with a range towel, just be able to get this thing an easy wipe, keep out the debris, a lot of the mud, a lot of the water and stuff, and just a really good option, and it's durable. I mean, a lot of the one-handed malfunctions we get, we rack this thing right off the top. It's built to last, and the battery life seems to last for forever, which is always super cool. But in doing so, we had our friends at Aimpoint swing by today, and we want to show you something super cool they've been working on. It's going to drop right before SHOT Show in 25.
Yep.
But let's get into it. Everybody wants to know what's in the box. If you don't mind holding this for a second, let's talk about what's in the box. This is the Glock COA system. So upgrades from the P2 ACRO. Originally, when the whole thing first came to be, really trying to design it for the smaller, you know, the concealed carry platforms, 43X, the 48, something slim, but the same robust capabilities you had before with the P2. And I think they knocked this thing out of the park. We're just gonna do a quick size comparison so you guys can see, but this is 5 years battery life consistently on, which is amazing, because if you're like me, you forget to shut these things off, but the worst thing you can ever have is you start fishing this thing out of a t-shirt, you're on duty or whatever, and the battery is dead. They're not a quick battery change, they just never are. And that's something you cannot avoid. So the fact it's got a 5-year battery life is super, super helpful.
I think they did a good job too on basically making this more of a concealable platform, but maintaining the window size.
Exactly.
As the P2.
I mean, that's one of the things, you start going down to these smaller optics, that window is so small and not a lot of people can find that comfortable range to be able to present this and pick up the dot every single time. So when you open up that aperture, it makes it so much more repeatable, that much easier to define, and it really boosts your confidence every time you go to produce a pistol from concealment out of a duty holster. You don't want to have to sit there and start moving your head around and trying to chase for an optic. So first impression out of the box, I love the fact the window is still where it needs to be.
And what they did too with this, they came out with their own proprietary mounting system as well that fits in super smooth, but also allows the iron sight co-witness, because always when you're adding the red dots, normally you got to have higher iron sights, but yeah, good job on that.
Yeah, most guys factory like suppressor sights and stuff like that. And for me, for the concealed carry option, they stand up so tall, it becomes a huge snag hazard. And that's why a lot of guys don't like them, or they don't want something impeding the red dot, impeding the window. I think the co-witness is really an awesome platform. They killed it. But let's talk about just the size comparison here. They're all clear and safe. If we can zoom in on this thing, just the overall footprint. Remember, keep in mind, we're trying to keep this the new COA line for the concealed carry option. But now, because they removed the sacrificial lens on the front and rear, you get the exact same optic window on both platforms. So you don't have to worry about that anymore. So it's still a streamlined package, but you're not losing anything. Just a smaller footprint. But side by side, killed it with that. You can see on the bore line, they did those cuts to drop it down for that co-witness. The buttonology, super clean. One of the things they did is they had to swap, just because of the real estate available for doing the battery swap, the traditional on the side mounting. They flipped it, so now all of it is underneath. The battery, the brains, everything's on the bottom of it. That way they can drop this optic down. Adjustment screws left and right, no more on the top and on the side, so everything's on the sides now.
So for 25, this will be an exclusive thing just with Glock, come as a full system.
For the first 12 months, right?
Yep, for the first 12 months. Kind of review some of the other Glock models that they're doing it with.
So we got the 43X. 19, also in the 48. 45. If you guys haven't got your hands wrapped around a 45, I don't get to shoot Glocks as much as I typically want to, but that 45 feels amazing in the hand, dude. Especially, and I don't know if we already said it, these are only compatible with the Gen 5 Glocks.
We got 47.
47s. 47. Do you want to do the honors and mount one of these things real quick? We'll just show you how easy this thing is to install, and we'll kind of talk about
This cut's called the A cut?
Yeah, you know, really reducing that slippage from side to side. You really start torquing on these guns. they get misaligned, stripping screws, everything else, but there's so much recoil that's going in and out of these pistols, especially the smaller compact pistols. A lot of them rattle loose, and that's really why that A-cut's so beneficial, and having that boot mentality when it drops in and it sinks, now you're applying that pressure from the rear. Now there's no slippage left, right, or up and down. It really does make a firm lockup.
And the way the rear iron sights lock in the whole COA sight, it stops the shearing as well.
Equal pressure all the way around. That way you don't have to worry about it slipping. And then we're gonna hammer this thing on the flat range for a little bit and give you guys some honest feedback on how we like it. But first impressions out of the box, man, I really dig it. Nothing wrong with the P2, love these things. But a lot of people do say it's a little bit big for concealed carry option. That's why this is such a beautiful combination for everything. Full size pistols, I'd run this on a full size all day long.
Yep.
I'm really looking forward to hammering down on it. Let's check them out. Fine with that. That looks good. Let's talk about it. Glock COA system. Initial impressions.
I was just talking about it over there. To me, and kind of my take on it, it feels like the window is actually bigger than the ACRO.
Yeah.
Just from the removal of the housing and all that, I feel like I'm able to pick my eyes up, pick that red dot up a lot easier in my eyes. Yeah. With it being lower down on the slide, I feel like you don't have that, with the grip angle, you don't have that, and it comes up really natural in the eyes.
It does.
And it feels pretty steady too, I mean, really clear.
Yeah, I mean, like, just the different lockups, that rear sight, that co-witness, being able to apply that pressure on the rear side of it, that little dovetail, that boot they talked about that drops in,
yep. There's
just no slippage. And you know, you cross thread these things, you get a bunch of different things. That A-cut they have makes it so tight when you lock in, and you've seen us swap them in. It's so much easier than optics in the past. And you guys are like me, they're not the easiest, man. A lot of them, you have to have a different footprint, you gotta have a different adapter plate, all these different things. And it's so clean. And what's really cool about this one, we just found out, is when you buy this system for Glock, it's coming in auto installed. You don't have to do anything. Pull this bad boy out and send it. And I'm telling you right now, before you start to mess around trying to co-witness red dots with the irons, just shoot the thing straight out of the box, man. You'd be surprised how close they come. There's a ton of engineering that goes in here, and straight out of the box, they are, I mean, completely on. So I wouldn't make too many crazy adjustments right out of the box. I'd just shoot them and let them know, man. But I'm thoroughly impressed. Same thing, like we were shooting the P2 the other day, and just that little border window they have, that safety glass, it obscures it just enough, but it's perfect for a carbine optic, anything else. But when guys started, they're really trying to maximize that CCW footprint, really trying to minimize just the overall housing. And in doing so, when they remove that outer ring, it's perfect for every platform. Full-size pistol, compacts, it doesn't matter anymore. That's probably one of my favorite optics I've ever shot. And I'm a sucker for like the big windows, the SROs, the Max Michels, and I think that is such a robust option in that closed emitter frame that you just can't ignore them. We've been racking off holsters all day. There's no issues, there's no marring on it. And the battery life, 5 years, I mean, you can't beat 5 years. Turn the thing on, just forget about it. Like, that's where I'm at.
No, I know, and the initial was kind of make more of a concealable type optic. Like you said, great on concealable, but you know, everyday carry, I think this is great.
Yeah.
It's nice too, I was talking about it, basically that front iron sight coming up right in that window, and you know that red dot's right behind it.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of times with the suppressor heights, it's so big, they stand up so tall, now you really start to obscure the optic. And a lot of guys are trying to make that transition. That's why it's so hard. The window's too small, the dot's too blown out. Now you have suppressor heights. They're all competing for, you know, real estate for you to be able to process information. And that's just such a clean footprint. And, you know, I mean, from the P2 to where it is now, amazing upgrades.
I'd say it takes a lot for me to get excited about optics because there's so many in red dots for pistols, but you know, the enclosed emitter, how easy it comes up in my eye line. You know, we always talk about it's on the individual on what they like and don't and what works for them, but this definitely would be my go-to.
Yeah, I mean, for all the Glock fans out there, all the fans of Aimpoint, obviously we are too, exclusive for Glock for the first 12 months, and this thing should be released right at SHOT Show, so pick one up. You got to give it a shot, man.
Definitely go check it out.
Yeah, dude, I'm a huge fan of this, so shout out to Glock and Aimpoint. Love to see the collaboration. It's going to change a lot of people's lives and improve performance across the board, so congrats to you guys. Really appreciate us giving a first crack at it. So, be on the lookout for it, man. We appreciate you guys.
Thanks.
We'll talk soon.